And we'll do by, executive order chair. Send to.
Okay.
So if you could select the chair first, that would be.
Okay, so we're gonna rearrange the agenda a little bit, and do a selection, and should be chair first. Are there any nominations?
Well, I would like to nominate Cindy.
I will second that. Okay. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Asking if there are any more nominations.
Yep, any other nominations? Not
No,
hearing any.
no, I'm good with one.
Self-nominate?
Hearing none, move to close the nominations.
I move to close the nominations.
If there are no objections, then the nominations are closed. And then basically, are there any objections to Mrs. Cooper serving as the chair?
No.
Hearing none, Mrs. Cooper, you are the chair.
Okay. With all the authority that comes with the chair, I'm going to executively approve the minutes from November 22nd as my previous committee is no longer serving on the events committee.
Can I ask a procedural question to that effect?
Yes,
Because
sir.
I had never seen that done before.
We have done
Is that specifically limited to this type of scenario?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe we'll just state for the record, I mean, we don't have a quorum of prior members in the room to approve the minutes. So for the general public, Mrs. Cooper, did serve on the committee in the past, has an understanding of what happened at the meeting. And again, it's just asking basically by executive fiat that they be entered into the record as the minutes for the meeting.
So the same thing could occur, let's say Cindy had left after her last term and you had an entirely new committee.
Yeah,
You could do the
we would have
exact
done
same
the same.
thing.
We
Okay.
did it with the
zoning
planning
and
commission.
parks.
We
Mm.
did it with parks. Yeah, we've already
Okay.
done it a couple of times just to kind of get through the transition.
Otherwise,
Sorry.
no, that's interesting
Needed to
because
learn
we've
that,
not ever
yeah.
had that really happen where we've
There's
had
four
such a
people in
big.
services, so.
Yeah, so you
we
were
never run
fine.
into that.
Yeah. Yeah, because no, how did you
Mayor's a
approve
voting
it?
member on services.
And,
that's
but
the
what
key.
about John and Molly?
Mayor and I could approve.
2 was enough? Oh, okay. Yes, I didn't have to. I get the smaller committees, you get the meatier committee. Okay, moving on, we're gonna skip letter A since we already did that, and we're gonna move on to letter B, which is the Eagle Adventure Camp, which I see their permit application. Any changes from last year? They've done this, has it been 1 year or more?
So this will be their second year doing it. No, I went over it with Mrs. Gregor. There's really no changes. It'll be the same kind of setup as last year. With the early
So maybe explain for Damon.
Oh.
What this camp is.
Eagle Adventure Camp. It's run by a teacher at the school, right? She's a teacher.
She's a
She's a
gym
PE teacher,
Yeah.
and she's also a Wizards All-Star.
That's so amazing.
It's true.
They do a youth camp and you can pay like weekly and they do fun activities at the GRE shelter house, but they also go out and do they go to the pool and the skating and they do all these fun things, but they did archery last year and stuff like that. It's
And
a really good time.
gymnastics.
Yeah.
But they also, it was neat because they also do a lot of, they did some outreach. Yep, they did, they made my very own blankets. So they did some kind of charity stuff
Yeah.
in-house and in the GRE facility. And then they also went and did field trips. But they're asking for permission because of the shelter house
Yeah,
and the
they're gonna
park
take the whole
areas.
shelter house for the day, so they have
Right.
to have the permission.
So it looks like they're gonna have an early drop off at 7. And then they'll be there until 4. And they're expecting 100 people. So Mr. Hennessy, maybe you could just recap real quick for the committee. When are folks filling these out?
Yeah.
When there's
so
a 2-part threshold, right?
we will get this in the packet in the future. We do have a matrix for, when we bring a request to the events committee, when they advance to the Parks Commission or the committee, if they advance to council, there are certain thresholds that each one has to pass. So I think I should have checked this ahead of time. It's anybody who's requesting the park for more than 6 hours and has more than 25 people in attendance. So the point is that event is likely to limit the public's general use of the park. And that's the reason why such an event would come. I mean, if somebody were going to do an event for an hour or 2, again, it doesn't generally restrict the public's ability to participate. And if it were 2 people, again, probably wouldn't really matter for 6 hours, but when you get more than 25, So that's the rationale behind it. We'll get that in front of you so you can see all of the ones.
And Amber's emailed that, I think.
Yeah.
They should have a copy of that. If it's not in the OneDrive, we've gotten it through an email.
Yeah.
But just for the record and just to hear it out loud, it's helpful, I think. So
So we'll also-
procedure wise, if this committee doesn't see any problem with this, it does not move forward. Staff just gives the permission, or does it
It'll
move
go to
forward?
the parks because it's taking up a park for the day too, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right, so it
this will
passes.
go in front of the Parks Committee
Yep.
in March.
Yeah, and that's actually another important point. That now that we have the events committee, the general process is it always comes to the events committee first before we start funneling it to the other committees. There's a way to kind of expedite that process in the event that there's a last minute event. But for the most part, this is the process. So, yeah. And we will note for the record administrators attendance.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so for this group, basically looking to make sure there are no objections, okay, recommending that it, be presented to the the Parks Committee for consideration.
And then assuming the Parks Committee doesn't have any problem with it, the staff just
It's good to go.
tells the event coordinator.
Yep.
Okay.
The other thing that happens with these applications is we do check internally with staff as well. So we will talk to the police department
And
and
services.
services.
And then I also will follow up with the STNG and the EMS, just to let them know that there's.
Everyone's on the same
Yep,
page. There's gonna
everyone's
be
on the
100
same
kids at GRE all summer long. Okay. Okay, I don't have any problems with Eagle Adventure Camp coming again this year. If either of you have any problems, or
No, I think sounds like a great thing.
yeah, my kids went last year. It was fun. Okay, moving on to item C, Citizen Recognition Program. I heard a rumor that we've got an application. Mr. Hennessy told me yesterday. And that was in our OneDrive, so I was able to go, you both have access to the OneDrive now. So it's helpful they'll put all of our information in there, so it looks, can you reference what page that starts on in our packet?
I guess page 12.
Okay, so for context, for the committee, we started this last year, right? Okay, so last year we started the citizens recognition, and you can residents, it can be whoever, the nomination comes in and it can be for one person or it can be for a group of people. And the purpose of it is to honor someone who has done a significant thing for the city of Sunbury. And it could be over a long period of time they've served, or they did one big project, or just we're open. So Damon will remember last year we honored Megan Truax, and I don't remember the second, Lee. I don't remember the second guy's name. Dr. Lou.
The mole.
The mole.
Yes, and so Amber posted multiple times for this, and we weren't getting any nominees. So the committee was just nominating it until we could get the ball rolling. So we're hopeful, and now it does look like we got a nomination. So we're hopeful to start getting folks to nominate people. Will have actually a few to go through and pick from, and when that happens, we'll continue to keep the applications. So person A, B, and C all get nominated. We pick person A, person B, and C will still stay in the kitty for the next go around. So
How often's the goal to do it?
quarterly was the goal. Last year we did 2. We were just kicking off the program and we weren't getting any responses.
Yeah, it takes time for that.
It takes time for that.
Yeah.
How are you trying to get nominations?
It's been promoted on Facebook.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, social media, basically LinkedIn. And then it's on the website as well.
Maybe there might be a better way. I mean, I know social media is it, but
Yeah.
through the schools, or is there? If you're not getting too many nominees,
Are we reaching out to the various social organizations in town directly?
I personally have reached out to the Boy Scouts, and I think that's in the Rotary Club. So I didn't reach out to the Rotary Club because a council member cannot be nominated. So I didn't reach out to the Rotary Club. I don't know if I've reached out to the Lions or not. So that's a good question. We can just help that to reach out to spokespeople from the organizations. That's a great idea. I don't know about the schools. I think that's a good idea to
School would
start
be good too,
thinking
yeah.
about other avenues. I think that's a great idea. I don't,
Cause it could even be humane society or how do you,
Yeah.
really? And or, the different medical fields, there's,
yes, whoever has done something good for Sunbury, and I'm sure there's lots of
Right.
options, like. Yeah,
it's just reaching these people, cause I know a lot of people don't do Facebook.
Yeah.
And a lot of social media.
so.
So there's gotta be a way.
Yeah, so we'll brainstorm that. Maybe staff can think about that. The committee can think about that, getting the word out. I think also as we keep awarding it, and the mayor talked about it in his speech at the State of the City. So I think just the more it gets going too, the more people will be like, oh, okay, this is happening. This is kind of cool. I know I've heard a lot of people say, I know someone who would be great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please nominate. And it doesn't come through. So
You got it right.
yeah, it takes an effort to fill out a form. So, but looks like we have someone took the time to fill out a form. The nomination is for Beth Stanley. She lives in Galena. And it looks like, and her name may sound familiar to our fire department because she has taken up this Change the World with Your Kindness, where it looks like she has, I don't know the right word, but like chartered this group of folks who donate money, and they take that money and it looks like they buy snack type foods, and they've gone to the fire department in the past. They've also gone to PD in the past, and it looks like they've done school bus drivers and the post office and Big Walnut teachers.
I'm pretty sure I've heard of this group before.
Yeah, I have
Especially
heard
with
of
schools.
them doing, I've seen pictures. They actually have, I think they're getting, and I don't think this is a spoiler alert because I'm pretty sure it's on social media, but I think they're getting ready to do another one on Monday. I don't know if they coordinate that with you guys or if they just show up to surprise you. If they don't coordinate it, then act surprised. But I'm pretty sure that it's, that's not spoiling because I think it's on social media, but they've posted pictures of what they did last year and it was really cool. And I know they did Whiteside was in pictures and the fire department took a picture with her. And I don't know if she brings kids or not, as I'm not sure if they do it during the day. I'm just going to read this out loud real quick, but it says, Beth Stanley is active in many groups around Sunbury, including running clubs, Down syndrome awareness groups, kids runs clubs, just to name a few. The reason I'm nominating her today is because of the group she formed called Change the World with Your Kindness. In the year or two since the group formed, she gathered donations, volunteers, and delivered many gifts and treats to deserving people around Sunbury. These donations included the fire department, the Big Walnut Joint Fire Department, she means BTSG, the Big Walnut bus drivers, the post office, Big Walnut teachers, and more. Beth is the most compassionate and kind person I've ever met. She treats complete strangers as if they are family. Her daughter has Down syndrome, so on top of volunteering, God knows how many hours to that organization, she manages to find time filling up the buckets of the people in Sunbury who need it the most. During the pandemic, when our postal workers were working overtime to get everything delivered, she organized a drive to get goodies and snacks together for them to show appreciation. When our bus drivers were experiencing the same job fatigue, she organized the same thing for them. When our fire department experienced a couple tough weeks, she did the same for them. If there's a need somewhere, Beth Stanley jumps in on the chance to make people smile and uplift their spirits. So that sounds like.
So maybe another important point to make, and you had said this, Madam Chair, is that, so she's from Galena and that's okay. It doesn't have to be a resident of Sunbury. Basically, as long as they provide something to benefit the city. So I've been there when they've shown up to recognize our police department. And they did bring kids with them. I think
Okay.
both times that I've seen them.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Monday is a holiday. I wonder if they don't probably have school. That's why they don't have school on Monday?
They're all-
Okay, so they'll probably be bringing kids then too. So she thinks ahead.
So yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have to live in Sunbury to receive this award, but you're doing something for Sunbury.
exactly.
So yeah, so her impact is showing kindness to our first responders, our teachers, our postal workers. So.
And then, Molly, for your benefit, once the committee makes a recommendation, and, you know, if they could consider other nominations as well. We do prepare a certificate. We present it at a council meeting. We invite them to attend, try to get a picture with the council and the individuals. And we may be trying to kind of improve the goodie bag a little bit for them. I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but anyway, yeah, so there's a public recognition for them in addition to kind of just the committee selecting an individual.
Right.
It's just so hard to pick out one person, you know, that does.
Well, the
But
great
we're
thing,
hopeful to
That's
get
right.
it going, and we can do it quarterly.
yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about it, exactly, that, you know, there are a lot of deserving people but there are also lots of opportunities for you to recognize them. And we weren't recognizing them in any way, you know, until last year through, at least in a formal way. So, yeah.
What do we do after the council recognition? I know we bring them in, we take a picture and stuff. Do we post that on our website then as well? Okay. So I know I've seen Facebook posts about it too. Okay.
Then the mayor brings it up in his state of the
Yep.
city.
Oh, yeah. Every year.
Any other questions about it? I would love, something that's my favorite part is Amber's been, and we can work on this if you don't want to do it in the future, but we can work together. She has written up for me something to read to the person. And it's very moving because the person doesn't know that's going to happen. It's very moving for them to hear all these great things that people have said about them. So I would like to combine some of these things that are written in the application, and then maybe we could reach out to our police department, our fire department, and get just a quote from them about how it made your officers feel, or how it made your fire department feel that folks are noticing your hard work and the care in bringing in kids. And in the past, Amber and I have worked together on that. We've sort of just divide it and conquer it. So Amber, we can talk later if that continues to work well for you. That works for me if you want. Okay, that's great. And then we'll get something typed and I'll read it, and then so maybe I'm looking at the calendar. Maybe on the 1st, maybe March 6th, we could invite Mrs. Stanley and her family. And they were actually just here. You may have seen them in December. You might remember Mr. Ghost talking about the Girl Scouts came to the Parks meeting in December. She has Girl Scouts. So she was actually just up here in December. Okay, anything else on that matter?
What kind of action is needed from us, or is there anything?
Just a
Considering
everything
we
is
don't
just a
have-
consensus.
Right, yeah, considering we don't have a stack of them to go through at this point. And there's nothing objectionable here, of course, so, okay. I definitely think highlighting and encouraging future submissions is a high priority.
Yeah.
For that, yeah.
Yeah, I would much rather have nominations to go through than the committee pick them repeatedly. The Mueller family was easy to pick.
Mhm.
Megan Truex was easy to pick, but I would rather hear from our residents, so I agree with you.
All right, so with that, it sounds like we'll reach out to Ms. Stanley, see if the 6th works, and coordinate the messaging on that.
And we'll reach out to let's wait till next week after the kindness day.
Okay.
And we'll see who all she went to, and then we can divide and conquer and try to get a quote. It doesn't have to be anything long, just a simple quote so that we can say that in the council meeting. Okay, moving on. Letter D, 4th of July working group update. Will Amber, would you like to take this?
I just included a quick summary of what I found to be the key points of the working.
That's
group.
on page 15 of your
Page 15,
packet.
yeah, sorry.
So, yeah, maybe some context.
Yeah, we had a working group for the 4th of July, at the beginning of the year to go over some of the minor issues we were having with the parade and traffic and stuff like that, and to discuss it. And then I just pulled what we talked about and what I think we're gonna be working on. Like setting up a safety video, to share with the public, because that's, you know, a little more easier to follow than reading something, just adding a little extra safeties so everybody can be safe and have fun at the same time.
The working group consisted of fire representation, police representation,
City, or services.
civic,
and-
chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good group.
So they get the video to see the safety points. Or did you say the public does?
Yeah, I think we were gonna work on one for the public,
Right.
like best practices kind of.
And then how would they view that?
Or we'd have to blast it out on social media, and we could also put it on our website, but that would be the main focus. And then just hopefully, a lot of people share it with other people, and I do ask people, like, there are residents that don't have Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. And I asked, just, can you pass it along? But that's just one of the aspects of, maybe we can look at maybe doing a posting about it that we could put out
Yeah.
for those who.
Yeah, I think we also, my recollection was that the Civic Association, which helps coordinate the parade, has talked about pushing it out to the parade applicants. So they're directly getting, you know, a safety video.
Yeah, and they communicate through email.
Yeah.
So,
And then we talked about some other issues regarding the square and the chamber and kind of how to help facilitate the safe, you know, movement of vehicles in and around the square, but also how to maybe open up the streets a little bit more by putting the vendor parking someplace else. So there are, you know, little things that that we're gonna work on that we think at the end of the day creates, you know, a safer environment for what is a very large event.
do we have another meeting scheduled for that group?
I don't think we do at this point. I think, yeah, we're taking basically the feedback we got from that meeting and just trying to implement these ideas.
Oh, our streets department was represented too.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
it was,
did.
we had,
Yeah.
yeah.
And one of the others, I'll just bring it up, I'm sure it's in here, is that, you know, there was the police, I think, as Mrs. Cooper indicated, the police were a part of it as well. We have talked about how to kind of, once the parade ends and the vehicles start flowing through the street, is there a safer way to kind of, and to slow the traffic down and get the traffic through town, giving people a little bit more chance to get, you know, away from the roads. Because it's just hard. At the end of the event, people are not maybe paying as much attention and they're still in the road and they need to be getting out of the road.
The road gets narrow.
And the road gets narrow. And so, and there are some not happy truck drivers who've been sitting there for an hour and a half and are ready to go. And so we just need to slow them down.
One
Get through
suggestion, I don't remember if it was Cindy, I think it was putting in the Waze app updates so that the truckers who are coming through, they can see from a distance, there's a parade coming up, avoid the parade. That was a great
I
suggestion.
also reached out to a friend who works in the trucking industry, and they use a different sort of GPS where he can report those kind of things. So like, I was like, can you help me with that and report it on your stuff too? So maybe that will help.
Is that an app that only a trucker has access to? Okay.
Do we put up any kind of parade detour signage around the
Yeah.
thoroughfare?
That was last year we bought those, right?
Okay,
Yeah, so
Those police.
we've purchased one of those street electronic as a billboard sign, whatever, it's a digital sign. We've purchased one, we rented a second one so we could have it on both ends of town on 36, 37 out here. But it didn't, some people missed it, some of the
Okay.
truckers missed it.
yeah.
And so they ended up getting stuck again, once they got closer. But I mean, I think it helped. We put it out about a week before the event. I think we actually have used it. We have used it for some other community events. We put it on the square just to let people know at this intersection as they're coming through town, you know, something might be coming up here in 2-3 days. So
We're even
again,
spell checking now, I heard.
we will work on that. Yes. There was a misspelling. Fortunately, it was not anything bad.
It happened. Human error.
It replaced it, swapped 2 letters.
I'm just teasing you, Daryl.
Would there be a detour route?
Well, and yes, in fact, I think we probably ought to post
You
that.
could probably make
I
one.
think that
Yeah.
would be a
I-
good
I think-
idea.
Yeah. I mean, I think we inherently know what the detour route is, but you're right,
We
people
do.
don't know what the
Right.
detour route
We're
is.
trying truckers.
They don't know
to-
that getting it down 3 into 605 can
Right.
get you around, the edge of town. So, yeah,
As long as the truckers don't end up on Walnut Street.
there you go.
Okay. So thank you to the fire department and the police department and our streets department, civic and chamber for all attending that meeting because it really is a collaboration and it's best when we can hear directly from you guys what you guys need. So I really appreciate you coming. I think Wade came to that.
Definitely with the police and firefighters and EMS need for sure.
Moving on to letter E, tell me about the solar eclipse event on April 8th. I did see a Facebook post about it, but all I saw was details coming soon. So do you got
Oh.
any details for us?
We are going to host an event. Wanted to bring it in front of you guys.
I mean, the events committee supports it.
So
I already know they support it.
we're a tough group.
Already been asked. Alyssa and I have been working on this. We picked Freedom Park because it's just so open and we can utilize the disc golf course back there. The parking and the actual course is so open back there. It's a great spot for families to go. We want to advertise it more as not a big event. We're talking, bring your blankets, bring your picnic, bring your family. We've got the glasses, come out and have a good time. We do have 800 glasses right now. It will be a first come, first serve kind of thing. I'm working with the church next door to make sure that, I don't want to impede on anything that they're doing but we have asked if we could use their parking lot, because this is going to be a big event. I think they said today, all of the parks are completely booked at this point. So
I have heard.
yeah, Sunbury Christian Church and the Lions have volunteered to come out. The Lions are gonna do some eye safety things, and then they'll have a kit where kids can make a protector to go over the glasses, so when you're looking up, it's not coming directly down. So that'll be fun. I think the church is gonna try to bring some small activities.
Sunbury Christian.
Sunbury Christian, yeah. And then I want to say there's one more group I'm waiting, so we'll see if they say anything. But we want to keep it just small. I'm not trying to blow up bounce houses or anything like that because the electric out there isn't really built for it. And then there's no restrooms or anything out there. I'll bring in more porta potties. Don't worry about that.
So porta potties will be
yeah.
the restroom.
Yep. And then time frame, what would we say, noonish to about 3. I think the start of it is 13:55. So 1:55 is the start. Total totality, I think, is at 15 something. So around 3, and we would probably end it around 4. We'll probably close the park off at the beginning of the day just to make sure no one's coming in there. Just so we can keep control of the traffic and make sure we're parking everybody where we need to be parked. Let the police know. We just wanted to
I was just
come.
gonna ask, do we need extra police
So-
presence?
That's why I told Casey to come up here. We'll probably need extra police presence. The fire department's more than welcome to come too. Got plenty of glasses. But like I said, we just want to make it like a spot. We come together as a community and experience this once in a lifetime event. Simple, fun.
Yeah, I did see Big Walnut is closed that day.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
probably a relief to our first
Pretty much.
responders.
If you want to keep it small and keep it a family event, maybe contact the churches.
I have been. I've contacted, Sunbury Christian was the first one to reach out to me and say they'd love to come up. And then the Lions, with it being the eclipse and their focus is eyesight, they're a perfect group to come out and do this kind of
Good
thing.
collaboration.
We're all gonna be staring at this. They were my first, but I've reached out to the other churches. I'm yet to hear back.
Like
If
Genoa.
anybody, yeah, I haven't reached out to Genoa. They're a little out of our range. I stuck with the local ones that have come and helped before. So
Did you reach out to the vineyard?
I have not reached out to the vineyard
I can
yet.
reach out to them.
You want to do that?
Sure.
Yeah. Like I reached out to Jordan, but it's okay.
Oh,
They don't
yeah.
want to help. But that's it. I want to keep it small.
That's what they do on it. They might not have the
They
resources.
might not have the resources. I know the community library, they basically said that they were asked not to put an event on because if it's gonna be so big, but we have more resources obviously than the library. So we've invited them out to ours. So hopefully they'll come out and maybe bring some educational tools for the kids too.
Do we generally anticipate a lot of out of towners for this generically? Because I remember when this happened in Tennessee 6 or 8 years ago, and people were just convoying down to park along the side of the interstates. And walk.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're
every-
expecting that.
Every
Delaware
meeting
County
I've gone to, it's been drilled that we're gonna be bogged and it's gonna be a lot of people.
Okay.
At the state parks, but last time this happened, if you remember, we couldn't really even see it that well,
Mhm.
because it's.
Fingers
Ohio.
crossed.
Yeah,
Joe, you'll make sure it's a sunny day.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I was just asking.
Okay, and she'll handle the weather. Okay. She's planner. Okay. Thank you. It's nice to have you for those things.
We have maybe a little band for family.
We thought about that. Again, it's more, I don't know
Electric.
what the electrical situation is for a band and then the noise and then the traffic. We will put together a playlist and have some music with a speaker. We'll play, it won't just be quiet out there, I promise.
Lots of
Maybe
clips music.
strings.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna mirror it
Right.
at the zoo. I don't know if
Touch
you've
and sleep.
seen, the zoo is gonna have a celestial playlist and they have a
Oh,
lot of
interesting.
like sun themed songs. And I've skimmed through it, make sure that everything's family appropriate.
Walking on sunshine.
Yeah. Simple, light, flowy. And then we may try to get the projector screen up there, because NASA will also be showing it and we can block
Oh,
out
neat.
part of the shelter house, so people could watch it on the screen if they don't have a chance to look up and see it.
Yeah, so the projector is, that's Civic. It's what we use for the
Movies on.
movies on the square. So it's an inflatable screen.
Ira, I know you've been in these meetings for a long time, so I appreciate you doing that because this is not something that you would have thought you would have had to necessarily do when you took the job. And I know I asked you a while back, like, hey, I really, both of you, I said, I really think we need to take this opportunity and do something for our residents. So I appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. I think it's going to be great and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, we have quite a few folks out here. Would anyone like to speak in our visitor section? Chamber, fire, police, Mr. Bennett? Okay, hearing none. I know, Murray will never believe me. Motion for adjournment. Do I have a second?
Did you second? I'll second. Sorry.
Motion by Cooper, second by Capel. Roll call, please.
Ms. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Keppel,
Yes.
Mr. Air.
Yes.
3 yeas, we are adjourned.